Beginning our SEC roundup today, Cam Newton and the cloud of allegations surrounding him and his family.
It's a big story, John, no doubt about it. On Thursday, ESPN.com's Pat Forty reported that former Mississippi State quarterback John Bond was approached by a former teammate who claimed he was representing Newton and was told that it would, quote, take some cash to get Cam. Bond said the former teammate Kenny Rogers, who, by the way, played for and graduated from Northside High School just up the road from us, told him that other schools had already ponied up $200,000, but because of Newton's close relationship with head coach Dan Mullen, Mississippi State could get him for the very cheap price of $180,000. Newton's father, Cecil, has denied any wrongdoing.
Meanwhile, the Auburn quarterback made his first public comments about the matter on Friday, said Newton, quote, "I didn't do anything wrong. I'm blessed to be at Auburn right now. I'm sure the smoke will settle. I'm looking forward to this game tomorrow." Coach Gene Chizik says Newton is eligible and he will remain eligible. Now, let's be honest about it. Even if the Tigers didn't have Cam Newton today, they probably could still win the game against Chattanooga with their arms tied around their back. So what exactly is Coach Gene Chizik hoping to accomplish? There's only one thing he's concerned about.
Perfect scenario is that we show up Saturday and we become a better football team and we win the game. That's it. Again, we just want to know that Saturday when we get done playing the game, you know, were we a better team, you know, at 3:30 than we were at noon when we started.
The SEC East Division, well, it's not what it used to be. Florida lost 3 in a row, but by getting back on the winning track last week against Georgia, hey, the Gators are in the driver's seat. They control their own destiny. If they win today at Vanderbilt and next week at home against South Carolina, they'll punch a ticket to Atlanta again. Last Saturday against the Bulldogs, the Gators looked a lot more like the Gators that we've become accustomed to under Urban Meyer. Coach says the W was huge for his team in terms of confidence, but might have gotten a little overdramatic when describing the victory to the media.
You said this might be the greatest win.
Greatest win.
This mean of all time.
All time.
Okay.
History of the game.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Might have been a little tongue-in-cheek there, too.
Yeah.
But it was a big win.
Learn from the dramatic.
To lose 3 in a row, which is something that had never happened under Urban Meyer, then to get that win and be right back in control of their own destiny, that was big. Here's the schedule, John.
Yeah, not a big schedule today. Started to say a big schedule. It's really not a lot of marquee games out there. You got Florida at Vanderbilt kicking things off at 11:21 this morning. Georgia hosting Idaho State. There you see the schedule on your screen. And right now we want to turn it over to Richard Scott, who's going to give us a look at the weather around the SEC. Richard?
Hey, John, a lot of cold temperatures to talk about across the SEC. Not just us, it's pretty much everywhere. Let's take you down to Auburn today. Kickoff time at the game around 1 o'clock. 55 degrees, 50s through the game, even down in south and eastern parts of Alabama for Auburn. We're talking sunshine in the forecast. Florida at Vanderbilt. Let's talk the forecast there. Cold temperatures. Check that out. 41 degrees at kickoff, 11:21 in the morning as we go towards halftime, around 44. 48 degrees to end the game there. Very chilly conditions. A north wind up there as well. Also, Arkansas, South Carolina. Another cold game. Temperatures even in the 30s to wrap things up. Kickoff temperature around 46 to end the game, around 37 degrees. Clear skies over in South Carolina. John and Gary, at the end of the show, we'll talk about our kickoff forecast. We'll take you down to Baton Rouge, Louisiana, and talk some more cooler conditions.
All right, Richard, thank you very much. Well, next on Crimson Tide Kickoff, Coach Saban preaches leadership skills. But that's not a new concept at the Capstone. In fact, who better to talk about leadership than Coach Bear Bryant when he was alive? He passed along some great lessons. There's a new book out that talks about those lessons that Coach Bryant preached. We'll have a man very closely associated with that book live on the program.
Plus, Gary, you know, if your name is Mark and you play for the University of Alabama, chances are you had a pretty good week. Possible postseason honors for one and a highway named after another. You're watching Crimson Tide Kickoff, presented by AT&T and Alpha Insurance. Welcome back to Crimson Tide Kickoff. We'd like to take a moment to thank Drew Kyle and Kyle Office Solutions for their support of Crimson Tide Kickoff. They provided us this great set that Gary and I and our guests are sharing this morning. It also served for a great set for our recent homecoming parade broadcast. So remember to call Kyle Office Solutions for all your business and office needs. Well, you know, good week to be named Mark and play football at the University of Alabama. Running back Mark Ingram might soon have a stretch of highway named after him in his native state of Michigan. The state Senate on Thursday overwhelmingly approved a bill naming a stretch of highway the Mark V. Ingram II Freeway. The bill now heads to the Michigan House. And Alabama junior safety Mark Barron has been named one of 10 semifinalists for the Jim Thorpe Award. Barron is one of 2 players from the Southeastern Conference among the semifinalists for the prestigious honor given annually to the nation's best college defensive back. Now here's Gary.
Thank you, John. Our next guest involved in a great new book that's coming out in the very near future. NBA executive Pat Williams, who is a motivational speaker, wrote the book along with Tommy Ford, who's going to join us in just a moment. It's called Bear Bryant on Leadership, Life Lessons from a 6-time national championship coach. The book will soon be available at bookstores everywhere. And as I mentioned, Tommy Ford is with us this morning to talk about the book. Tommy, I read it the other night. Man, what a great read. An easy read. I knocked it out probably about an hour and a half. Of course, I'm a pretty fast reader here. But
Well, thank you, Gary, and I appreciate you having me on. Pat Williams is one of the nation's foremost experts on leadership management. He's a co-founder of the Orlando Magic. He's been an NBA general manager for 4 years. He's 70 years old and absolutely wore me out on this book. He's a leadership expert. He's written more than 60 books. He has 8,000 books in his home and his library. He is one of the nation's leaders. He's always wanted to do something on Coach Bryant. He was here a few years ago speaking to the West Alabama Prayer Breakfast and went over to the museum, and it didn't take him long to realize that Coach Bryant's presence is still here, and he wanted to examine it. So through our mutual friend John Merrill, John hooked Pat and me up, and I had the pleasure and honor of doing the manuscript part of the book. Pat did all the interviewing. We interviewed more than 220 people for this book. And,
you know, that's what I was going to talk to you about, because there's so many books written on Coach Bryant. There seems like there's one coming out practically every month. But Pat Williams is unique. I've interviewed him. You're right, full of energy. He studied so much on leadership and was really involved in writing some leadership stuff before these leadership books were as big as they are now. So you get a great perspective from him. He admired Coach Bryant. And there are some anecdotes and some stories and some lessons in this book that I had not read about anywhere else. And maybe that comes from, as you said, interviewing 220 people.
Pat had already identified 7 traits of leadership. That's sort of his claim to fame, the Pat Williams 7 sides of leadership. And we took those 7 sides and applied Coach Bryant to it. And through the stories and memories of all his former players, coaches who coached for him, coaches who coached against him, and including the media who covered him, we have captured this in about a 200-page book. We talk about his vision, his competence, his people skills, his serving heart, his boldness, and his character. And a lot of great lessons came out of it. And it's a great read, not just for an Alabama fan, but for a business executive who wants to learn how to manage better and lead better.
You know, as it's pointed out in the book, Coach Bryant was certainly comfortable in front of an audience, but he wasn't a great orator. But his leadership was on a day-to-day basis with his players, with assistant coaches, with people that he came in contact with. And that's what's great about this book. He led by example, probably more than anything else. And you have gone back along with Pat Williams, obviously, and dug up some of these stories, talked with some of the people that he affected their lives and really changed their lives for the better because of their relationship with Coach Bryant.
And that's the theme that everybody had, is how Coach Bryant still impacts them to this day. And it's not just his players, it's his fans. Fans learned from him. The media learned from him. Opposing coaches and players learned from him. Lou Holtz tells a story about the Sugar Bowl after the '79 season, and his 8-year-old son standing in line getting Coach Bryant's autograph, and Lou Holtz's son still has that picture to this day.
The book is called Bear Bryant on Leadership, Life Lessons from a 6-time National Championship Coach. It's written by Pat Williams with Tommy Ford. Tell us when it's going to be available.
Probably be out in about a week and a half. Scheduled release date's November 15th. Now, Pat will be in town, in and out of Birmingham and Tuscaloosa the whole week of November 15th through the 19th. So he'll be doing some book signings in the area on the Georgia State game day, and he'll be in and out of some radio and TV interviews. So hopefully everybody will be able to meet him.
Yeah, we're hoping maybe to get him on the day of the Georgia State game ourselves. Yeah. Thank you very much, Tommy.
Thank you, Gary.
Tommy Ford, pick up this book. You will absolutely love it. John?
All right, Gary, and coming up next on the program, she can read the news, she can chase down stories, but the real question is, can she pick football games? WVUA News anchor Lynn Brooks is our guest picker this week. She'll give us her take on today's Alabama game, as well as the rest of the SEC. You're watching Crimson Tide Kickoff.
Welcome back to Crimson Tide Kickoff. Don't forget our fearless prognosticator Lynn Brooks to join us later in the program. But first, to say that Alabama sophomore safety Wesley Neighbors comes from a Crimson Tide family would be quite the understatement. His grandfather Billy was a All-American two-way lineman on Coach Bryant's first national championship team in 1961. His great uncle also played for the Tide. His father Wes was an all-SEC center in the early and mid-'80s. Redshirted under Coach Bryant, then played under Coach Perkins, and his uncle Keith also played linebacker for Alabama. So it doesn't sound unusual that Wesley will be on the sidelines today at Tiger Stadium for the Alabama-LSU game. But that's not where the story ends. Another Neighbors, his brother Connor, will also be on the sidelines today, but he'll be on the LSU sidelines wearing the white and gold of the Tigers.
All my friends are going down, and everybody's saying they're going to wear, half of this, wear a jersey that says 4 with Alabama and 3 with LSU and stuff. And, I'm about to ask what my dad's going to wear. He better be wearing red, crimson. If he's wearing purple and gold, we might have a problem.
And today's game will also be a homecoming of sorts for Alabama defensive back Phelan Jones. He's signed with the Tigers out of Mobile's McGill-Tulane High School and spent 2 years at LSU before transferring to Alabama. Jones says he has no hard feelings towards the Tigers, just felt like he would have a better opportunity with the Crimson Tide. And stick around when we come back. Lynn Brooks with her fearless picks.
Welcome back to Crimson Tide Kickoff. It's cold here in the Tuscaloosa area. Now we're talking some nice conditions down in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. Let's show you that kickoff forecast. 63 at 2:30 kickoff time. Halftime temperature around 62. 57 to wrap up the game there. Lots of sunshine. Nice conditions happening over in Baton Rouge. And we have a very own Lynn Brooks, guest picker. Guys, take it away.
Yes, with much anticipation, the guys in Vegas are eagerly waiting to see which way to move the lines.
Well, that's the thing. I guess it's not documented by the Vegas handicappers, but she's 45-0 on the season against the spread. And now today, all you got to do is pick a winner. So
that's right.
This is child's play for you.
Hey, this is going to be easy stuff right here. I'm just so excited to be on Crimson Tide Kickoff. Usually they keep me down in the basement running the tower cam.
Well,
they don't usually let me come up here to the veranda.
You're with the big boys now.
I know.
You moved up in the major leagues.
I'm ready.
Hey, we're going to start you off with a softball.
Softball, easy one.
Florida at Vanderbilt.
Easy one. Well, first of all, Vandy is never really all that good. You don't have to be an expert prognosticator, extra special picker to pick that one. They're never really that great, and Florida is going to beat them. I'm saying Florida 38, Vandy 6, and Florida's trying to get that East title still. So.
Okay.
That expert picking right there. Vanderbilt's never that good.
They're just never that good. That's not that difficult.
All right.
You give me something a little harder.
Well, here you go.
I'm
getting
better
tougher
than this.
right here.
Yeah.
Number 17 Arkansas at number 18 South Carolina. South Carolina still controls their destiny in the East.
They do. I think South Carolina they're wanting to go to the SEC championship. They're wanting to go to Atlanta. And
are you sure? You sure they want to go?
I think they want to go. They really want to go. They wanted it bad enough to man up and beat Alabama.
That's right. That's right.
I'm a Bama girl, so I think if they're good enough to beat Alabama, then they're good enough to beat Arkansas. And plus, they're the home team today. So
sounds good to me.
Is that good logic?
Yeah, you're asking her all the tough games. All right. I know you like Chattanooga down to pull the shocker against Auburn. Huh?
The only thing that Chattanooga has is woo woo. All they have is a choo choo. They don't have a team.
What's the score in that one, Auburn?
Let me see. I wrote it down here. I'm going Auburn 55, Chattanooga 17.
All
55
right.
to 7. I think all the 18-year-olds on Auburn's team get to play today.
Yeah.
Do the woo-woo thing again.
Woo-woo! That's all Chattanooga's got.
All right.
Yeah.
Number 5 Alabama at number 12 LSU.
All I have to say is the Tide don't lose in Baton Rouge. It's going to be Bama, baby. And Coach Saban and Terry Saban, and Terry Saban was just up here with me a few weeks ago. We were doing the homecoming.
No kidding.
Yeah, and it makes me feel bad for them. They've got to go down there and listen to the boos and all that, but the Tide don't lose in Baton Rouge.
What's the score?
That's Bama. I've got Alabama 30, LSU 17.
All right, I'm glad you let me know that Terry Saban was up here. That's the first I'd heard of that. That was a news flash.
Well,
No, that was great.
We're all sitting here with our houndstooth and everything.
That's right.
There's no mistaking that.
All right, we're gonna document these picks. See how you do.
Yeah, there you go. And just remember who's the producer of this program and who invited you to come when you do evaluations later.
That's right.
All right. Thanks very much, Lynn. Thanks for you for watching, and we'll see you back here next week for another edition of Crimson Tide Kickoff.
Have a great football Saturday, everybody.
Bye.
Roll Tide.